The following is a presentation of Morning Drive Media.
Broadcasting from Mark Reilly's favorite place, beautiful, sexy, steamy Studio City, California. You gotta come out here to believe me. I'm Ken Napzok, and this is the Napzok Files Cupcake Edition. Or something like that.
Yum, yum.
Last episode, Mr. Mark Reilly joined me, his third appearance on the podcast, and he said, you know what, after the episode, he's like, I would like to at least tie Megan Finley's record.
Yes.
Which I believe is 4.
Yes.
Megan, of course, my good friend, confidant, and running mate, partner in crime.
Right.
Former USC grad like you.
Fight
as we
on.
mentioned. Last week mentioned 23 times in the podcast, Megan.
That's
was.
right. You're
So,
right.
Megan, that's all the press you get. You're done.
No more Megan.
Yeah,
No more
no
Megan.
more.
Finley.
So I thought to myself, yeah, Reilly, let's do it again. Let's bring
Yeah.
you on for number 4. You're
Let's do
back
it.
again.
I'm back.
But I said, can we do something a little different?
Yeah.
As much as I love you, Mark Reilly.
I know.
As much as we love to talk about Tinder and your marriage, your former
My
wife,
former
and
marriage?
your
Yeah.
former marriage, and your great girlfriend
And
now,
my new girlfriend off Tinder?
and your
Yeah.
love of movies, and all that good stuff we talked about last week. I said, can we dive a little bit more into the Schmoes Know website?
Yeah.
That world, and one of your rising new talents
Yeah.
that you acquired for the Schmoes Know brand,
Yeah.
and that woman showed up.
Surprising.
cupcakes.
I can't believe
sure
it.
did.
And her name is Stacy Howard.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hello, hello.
I can't believe
Thank
you
you
put
for
this.
having me.
You put this together, Ken Napzok.
I did
you,
put this
you
together.
This was amazing.
Yeah.
That was.
I'm
what,
excited
What
for
a
this.
surprise.
This is a opportunity to dive into the behind the scenes a little bit as much as we can go behind the scenes on
Yeah.
schmoesknow.com, and your job as editor in chief on the website.
Yes.
And there's a lot of, I want to be clear, there's a lot of other talented writers on the site.
Yes.
And some of them are local, some of them are not. I don't have a phone system, so Alex can't call in from Iowa at this time.
Right, right.
Joe Ruggiero was actually banned from my house right now. He
I
can't
kinda
show
understand.
up.
Yeah.
Understandable. So we have Stacy Howard, who just joined the team.
Yeah.
And look, it would be easy for me to say, hey, she's a beautiful young woman. Why wouldn't we want her to show? Because you are, and yeah, this and that.
Thank
But
you.
here's the thing. You've shown up. We've had other women write for the website. Miss Movies was a great contributor. She kind of retired from the biz. We had others who didn't hit. They didn't hit. You've shown up swinging for the fences.
Yes.
And you've done a great job. You've hit some home runs, some doubles, some triples, and you've started some controversy.
I sure have.
So I was like, Mark, can we get to know her a little bit more?
Yeah.
And Mark's like, yeah, here's her email. I said, yeah, here we go. And Stacey was like, I'll show up at a weird place in Studio City with 2 dudes. Yeah.
I did call my mom beforehand and was like, listen, if I don't call you in like 2 hours, something happened.
Here's
And
where
God,
I
he
am.
couldn't outside my house, so.
There is a white van waiting outside. It's not my white van.
It says free candy
yeah.
on the outside of it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a nice guy.
There's binoculars looking in here.
Yeah. I do
Oh,
see
gosh.
him. I do see him.
So what's interesting about Stacy's story with the Schmoes Know, and I want to get to your story as a movie fan and as a person as most you can, is it's funny. Megan's texting me right now. She found out you tied her record. She's upset.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right, Megan.
Starting
Keep
fights, Ken.
keep looking
Starting fights.
behind you, Megan.
Yeah, that's right. You one night, not too long ago, we were doing the Schmoes Know movie show over there at AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, and a phone call comes in late in the show, and it was a female caller named Stacy. Boca Raton, you're on the air.
Yeah.
And it's not like you're the first woman that's ever called into our show.
No.
No.
First.
But for sake of I'm being honest here, for the sake of advertising and producing,
Sure.
when you hear a female caller in a male-dominated demographic that we're in, and that's
Yes.
just the reality of what we do. It's grown men in Game of Thrones shirts and ET shirts. Your ears perk up. Our ears like, okay, what do we got?
Yeah.
And Mark, what would you say about her phone call?
Oh, I thought it was brilliant. I remember it was very, very clear, concise. Like it had a lot of passion behind it. Great points, and yeah, that's what I was saying. Because I'm remembering the email afterwards, which is how this all started.
Well, I
then.
want to get into that. So
Yeah.
you turned into Branch Rickey. And we're like, I need to break some genres and acquire some talent here for Schmoes Know.
Yeah.
A couple days later, you're like, hey, she's writing for the website.
Yeah. Well,
Ta-da!
Yeah.
well, that became she sent an email to the Schmoes, which
Out of the blue, or did you solicit it?
no, out of the blue.
Out of the blue. What happened was I was
Yeah.
a new fan of the show. I had only been watching their YouTube reviews for a few months, but they really interested me in the formula, the way that we're talking about it, and it really reminded me a lot of people like my older brother who got me into the movies in the first place, and they just are so passionate. They're so funny. They're normal guys. They're not like, these critics that have
let's not call Christian and Mark normal. No.
God forbid.
I get it. I don't mean to interrupt you, but yeah, Christian Harloff and Mark Ellison. And you're talking about the YouTube reviews, right? Did you come into the podcast after that? Or?
I came into the podcast after that. So I saw their YouTube reviews, and I was really interested in what they had to say. And that night that I called in was the very first time I'd ever watched the podcast, actually.
Oh, wow.
And so I had just seen The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I had an opinion on it, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to call in and see if they even answer. I had no idea. I probably wouldn't even get in if there's so many people trying to call into the show. And then I ended up, the phone picked up, and I was like, oh no. And I was a little caught off guard, but I went ahead and said my piece, and I just found the general email on schmozno.com, like editor@gmail.com or whatever it is.
You scoundrel with your important email address.
Very professional.
That was Christian. He one day he just changed the Schmozno email, and it now goes to me, and so for good reason, because this is what sucker.
Okay, so then you're like I'm gonna write an email to the guys.
Yeah, well, and I didn't even know who was gonna go to. I'm like, I'm sure it's gonna be their intern, or just they probably don't even check this email. It's just a general thing for people to.
And we have a lot of useless interns around.
Yeah. So, but to my surprise, the next day I got a response asking if I, had any experience with writing, if I want to try my hand at it, and I was like, hell yeah, I do. So I very sneakily, I have a regular 9-to-5 job in an office. I'm not in the industry. I'm not a wonderful stand-up comedian or actor like a lot of you guys are. I'm just a regular schmo.
You are a regular schmoette.
Regular schmoette. And I took some time off work, kind of on my lunch break, and wrote my first article, which is about the upcoming 50 Shades of Grey movie. And when I thought about it, what I expected if I'd read the books, which I had, I just put in my 2 cents. And, that was my sample article, and I didn't think anything was going to come of it. And then he put it on, and now I'm a writer, and now I'm here. And this is a month later. Yeah. So it's
You're
pretty incredible.
You're a bit of a go-getter, aren't you?
I am. I really am.
Is this in the rest of your existence on this earth? Has this been the case?
I try. Well, it's with topics that I am passionate about. So if it's movies, I'm there. I'm at it. I'm going at it. I'm talking about it. I talk with my, whoever else wants to listen. My friends are like me. They're like sorority girls from Texas A&M. They're not going with me to stand in line to get tickets to the midnight premiere of, The Hobbit. That's not what we went to, like the midnight premiere of Twilight, and that sucked. So, and we went to see The Lucky One. Good God, was that an awful movie? Yeah. So, I can't really talk with them about it. But if it's my older brother, my dad, or this is the reason I found you guys. All of Schmozno and Schmoville in itself. It's people that I can talk with movies about and have like-minded opinions about it, and they're just passionate. And I was just really excited to find you guys.
How did you find us? Did you stumble onto them?
I stumbled onto one of Chris Stuckman's videos. I watched a movie.
Stuckman.
Yeah, I watched a movie that I didn't like, and I went online to see some reviews to see if other people agreed with me, and the Schmoes were a guest on his show. I can't remember what movie it was. It was probably forever ago. But I saw them, and I just, like I said, I was reminded of my older brother and just that funny guy that loves movies, and I just felt kind of a connection with him, and I was like, I would love to join that community and see what it's all about. And it's been great so far. I love it.
Now, so Reilly, what did you assign her as her first piece? Remind me.
I don't know. I ran her 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh, you just went with that one. Yeah, that's right. I did remember seeing that.
So because it was so good. I was like, I'm gonna run this.
What to you, Reilly, as the editor-in-chief? Because I know now you're there may be other people now who are like, I want to do this too. And we talked about it a little bit last week. Number one, grammar, punctuation, complete sentences, not say things like "me like movie right now." Yes,
me wish to be writing for things of topics
you get a lot of.
Rules.
Yeah, exactly. With a Z.
Yeah.
So, what was it about her piece that made you go?
Well, it started with the email that. It was just because I remembered the call and her call, and her email was just, again, very just passionate, like-minded, just very, very happy to have been, able to lend her voice to the live podcast. And I read it, and it was such a well-written email. And it was something that I then contacted Christian. I forwarded it along to the guys because I wanted them to see it. And I told Christian, I go, I wonder if she can write. And he went, yeah, why don't you ask? I went, okay.
And he went, dude, women can't write.
Well, at least
smaller brain.
Yeah, I know. No, this woman can't write. Pea size. Get in kitchen, cook food.
Barefoot now.
Yeah. No, but there was something about the email that I went, this is good, and it has been something in me that I've been wanting to expand the writers, and I had been really wanting a female voice on there, and that was what kind of clued me into it. Was Stacy said that she said in her email, I was happy to lend my female voice, and I really love that you're having more people on that are Tiffany and now Alicia and Maud, and she commented on that, so it just kind of clicked, and I went, wait a minute, that's what I've been wanting, because as much like you said, it's a very male centric demographic here.
It is, yeah.
And a very, very puffy chests, like, we broke Scoop first.
And
you must.
And 90% of it is usually white dudes talking about superheroes.
Yeah.
And that's the way it is, but it's unfortunate.
It's very true.
And it's whitewashed, no pun intended. It's we want a little spice in this soup here.
Yeah. And so So we kind of went back and forth with the emails where I asked her, and you said, okay, I'll have a sample to you maybe tomorrow or something, and I noticed then that you probably walked out and wrote your sample from your 9-to-5 job.
I did,
because
yeah.
I got it pretty quick, and I went, it just floored me. It was funny. It gave the information. It gave a nice 50 Shades of Grey being so controversial with the book, and now it's being made in a movie.
Right.
We haven't done a lot of coverage of it, so it was very easy for me to see this girl has talent. I'm going to post this article. Let's see what happens, and the rest is now history. I do a lot of those stories now where I say, and the rest is history. What is that?
There's a lot of history in your life. You're making a lot of history, Mark.
I guess so.
So little Stacy Howard from Texas. Where in Texas?
I'm from College Station, Texas.
College Station, Texas.
Yes.
Nice.
I love Texas.
Thank you.
Spent a lot of time in Dallas, Fort Worth, McKinney, Farmers Branch. So a lot of people from Texas have big personalities, and it seems like you're not disappointing that.
I'm doing jazz fingers.
Jazz hands.
She has jazz fingers.
little Stacy Howard from College Station, Texas, comes to the Schmoesno website and writes a little piece about 50 Shades of Grey.
That's right.
Okay, that's good. Then you come out pretty much right after that with what ended up being a controversial article about what was the official title?
The official title was Why Girls Love Nerds.
Nerds. Okay. Why do girls love nerds? I personally don't believe that ever happens, but
it's true.
But you put it out as, hey, here's a little thought.
Yeah.
Yes.
Boom, Reilly.
Oh, gosh.
What happened next?
What the response?
Yeah. I was surprised. I read it and loved it. And that's what Stacy's really good at. There's sometimes the news can be very fast and furious, and I do take certain articles and send them to people like who I think would be right for it. I've done that a couple times with Stacy, but she's been great in doing not only like her Netflix picks but these special articles. So for this one, I read it, laughed my ass off, thought it was wonderful, thought it was endearing, immediately put it up, didn't think twice about it. I thought, again, content is king. I love having the movie news, and I love having special articles. So when I get them and they're good, I'm going to put them on there as soon as possible when the eyes are there. And the eyes were there for this one because, it was actually something somebody wrote. I can't remember who it was. I felt it was a little bit of an attack on her. And
it was Whitney something from another movie website.
I think so.
Oh, okay.
I'm not really sure. Yeah, I do remember Whitney. But no, and I think it's a dude. So with the name
he follows
Whitney.
me on Twitter now, so I guess our little tiff is over.
I bet. You know why? Because he probably saw pictures.
Yeah. Who is that lovely lady?
Yeah. So what was interesting is that I saw the comment and I almost hit delete because I thought it was too much. And then I contacted Christian and I said, "What do you think of this?" And he read it, and we went back and forth for like 5 minutes on this. We were like, yeah, do we delete it? Do we not? Do we just sit? And, he was saying that he's like, I don't think Stacy's going to be offended. And I go, no, I think she's a big girl. I'm not worried about it. It's more of the I just don't want hate on the website, that kind of thing. Not
especially someone who's so new to our staff here.
Yeah, so there was a little bit of a concern on my end.
Maybe some protection on your end.
Yeah, I think I was actually a little protective.
Like a big brother.
Yeah, it was.
Absolutely.
Thank you. But I did run it by head schmo Christian, and he then said, you know what? Let's start a discussion, and he put it out onto Schmoville. Mm-hmm. Hey Schmoville, what do you think of this comment? Did you agree? And that was it. That was what started the whole thing. So I actually got to hand it to Christian for starting that discussion.
Well, like Christian, he lives by a motto that former wrestling producer Eric Bischoff lives by, which is controversy creates cash.
Yeah.
And that's what happened here. And I do not disagree with that statement.
I don't either.
In an overall sense.
Yeah.
So, Stacy, if this goes up, and this was like an immediate thing, right?
Yeah.
You went up in the morning.
Yeah, maybe like early afternoon. And
so you're probably at your job, minding your own business.
Oh, yeah.
And suddenly, boom, explosions going on.
So what happened was the article went up, and this is an article that I wrote in like 30 minutes on my lunch break. I mean, it was meant to be a tongue-in-cheek piece and be, funny and light, and kind of just send a little message to some of our like younger teenage male audience. Maybe they're, maybe if people make mean comments to them or, have something negative to say because they are in a part of this quote-unquote nerd culture,
right? Just
to say, screw them, you're great.
Yeah. And
then, so I didn't think anything of it, and then the article goes up, and it just all blows up. My phone starts a-buzzing on my desk, and my boss is like, what's going on over there? And I was like, I don't know, I gotta check this. And there was this comment, which it surprised me, but it didn't offend me, because his points, they were well thought out, very intelligent, but I think he missed the whole point of the article, really.
Well,
absolutely.
What were the points?
Of his
what were his points?
Yeah.
I think he generalized the nerd statement and said that I hate it now that, something to the effect of I hate that, you classify nerds as these movie lovers when, they're actually like, have bad skin or something. I can't really remember, but he then generalized a version of the word nerd that I thought was offensive for maybe people that aren't into movies and are actually not necessarily nerds, but people that might have bad skin or something. This guy kind of went off the rails a bit, in my opinion.
Yeah, he was trying to say that, a nerd is someone that is, like socially inept, socially awkward.
Right.
They are, someone, would, I think in the article I was talking about how girls love nerds and they would date them. And he said, you would never date someone like that. You would never date someone who can't go out and, go out in society and function. And that's not what a nerd is. A nerd is you love a specific topic and you spend your time and your money and you associate your friends with that topic. So I'm a movie nerd. I'm I'm an intern in real life. My 9-to-5 job, I'm an intern. I don't get paid that much. But I will spend my money, I'll spend $20 to go see a 3D IMAX, Godzilla. Or I will, spend my time, I'll spend my weekends going to the movies or watching Netflix, or that's my passion. I am a movie nerd because I love that subject. That's what a nerd is to me. So what he was saying, I disagreed with.
Well, I wonder this person's age, because I'm going to go to the age card, and not in a bad way. As I'm listening to your talk, an idea sprung in my head, because what I grew up, I'm 10 plus years older than you now, I think. A nerd was a little bit more what he was describing, and I was a nerd. It was a different thing. It has changed. The definition, what you're saying, and you're a little bit more hipper and in the generation than us old folks over here now.
So true.
Graybeards over here.
Yeah.
What you're saying is probably more accurate now.
Yeah.
Versus what maybe his time or what the olden times, the 80s.
Yeah.
So
things have
maybe
changed.
it is a generational thing.
I might be, but
difference.
as I'm listening to you say it with such conviction, like, no, this is what a nerd is. I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, well, no. In high school or junior high, I was a nerd. I was like exactly what that guy's describing. However, you're not the first to I've heard to say, no. Nerd is like when you're passionate about something, and you're focused on it and everything. And I think maybe the definition has changed.
I think it absolutely has, and I think that
meaning you're right, Stacy. You win.
Oh,
you're
yeah.
right.
I know.
You win.
Well,
right.
I was of course I was on her side with this piece.
Yeah.
It spoke to me.
But it's passionate because I don't know if you watched Portlandia.
I haven't seen
I've heard of it.
I've heard of it.
Fred Armisen and Carrie Brownstein. They have one episode of a guy goes off, and they actually have this real. He's not even an actor, and it's hilarious because he kind of flubs his lines, and they kept it all in. And he gets angry over like, no, let me tell you what a nerd is. And I go to Ren Fair, but even then, it's like, so you go to Ren Fair, you're a nerd now.
Yeah,
it is.
What's Ren Fair, like Renaissance Festival?
Renaissance Fair.
I go to those.
Well, then you're a nerd, Stacy.
Oh,
You're
a
nerd.
But it's a war over this word now. It's a war over because you're not the first person to bring up our website's not the first website to have this debate kind of go where it's like no. And look, I know some girls who are tremendously attractive young females who are cosplaying dorks, and then I know some who completely fake it. And wouldn't touch me or genre men like me to save their lives. So I'm thinking,
shame on them because you guys are a catch.
Thank you, but I'm thinking though, whoever this person was reacting to that.
And you know what? I do know what his age is, though, kind of, because I looked him up on because he has
followed him home.
I did. I totally stalked him. I actually because he put he has his Facebook name, so I clicked on his Facebook and he has his description for the website. So I went and I watched some of his YouTube videos, and he's like I don't know 25, 30, something like that. And he was interviewing the guy that does the voice for Chucky the doll?
Brad Dourif.
Something like that. Yeah. So
Grim Wormtongue in
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
He was. That's exactly. Yeah, that's totally the guy. I knew I recognized him. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So he does YouTube videos. He's like a movie reviewer too. He's a movie fan. So I
touched a nerve with him.
I did touch a nerve. I did.
To be clear, if he was to have even listening, I'm not taking away his passion on it. Or
no.
His right to that passion. I can understand when I wasn't. I was. Because I work too in my day job, I don't have time to comb through it a lot. But I was watching from afar to see it because not going against what you're saying, Stacy. It was like, no, I can, believe me, I'm in the nerd culture in a group of friends with my writing partner and his friends who are amazing, wonderful, this amazing, interesting group of people. And there's a hierarchy in there where I feel I'm even on the outside of the nerds there. And there's a lot of there's ones who make $11,000 videos about Star Wars who don't know who Admiral Akbar is. You know what I mean? Like, so it's become a genre. So there's a war for this word.
Yes.
And here, poor Stacy comes stumbling in with a nice little opinion about I like everybody and I take everyone.
I brought cupcakes and
cupcakes.
Yeah. And we can all be happy.
Not dominating that, but like, hey, everyone, get along. And if you like E.T., I like you too. And this guy was like, I haven't been late in 2 years.
Well, that's because it ended with her saying, so own it, gentlemen. Like, if you feel this way, don't be scared to show it, and
it is very apropos to our general schmo audience, which tends to be not just white males, but the younger males coming out of high school and film school and everything. And there's been, I won't say his name, but he posted Facebook friends with him now, and which has been an interesting trial, breaking down that barrier on Facebook.
I'm with you, my friend.
But this is one of the ones I love as one of our fans, and he posted something like, "I'm sorry, I will not be a nerd anymore." And so I've done, and it was this emotional thing, and I posted on his page and said, "Hey, man, don't be anything. Just be you.
Love what you love."
And love what you, and when you're 18, you're just finishing high school, you're gonna learn that it doesn't matter. Only thing that matters is, you find your group of friends that you can get along with, and then you'll find some nice young lady who loves Doctor Who and will dig you.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
So that's probably the point you were trying to make.
Absolutely. I meant it to be motivational and just funny and sweet, and just give them a little shout out. Give our younger audience that, maybe if they're self-conscious about loving, the topics that they love, and if people ever, give them, can I curse on the show?
If you want. My mom won't like it, but you can go right ahead.
If people give them shit for it, just to say F you. Like, I love Lord of the Rings.
You.
Yeah, and it just was meant to be a positive and just a sweet little sweet little message to them. But I do understand where he was coming from, and my older brother called me and was like, basically like, okay.
Yeah, you said your brother was disagreeing too.
Yeah. So my brother kind of agreed with what this guy was saying, not in the sense that, oh, a nerd is, someone that's socially awkward, but he was like, well, he has a point. He has, and he made it in a very intelligent way, and I absolutely respected him, this guy Whitney, for it. But my brother was kind of siding on a lot of Schmoville about how I may have been a little naive in my article, and I was. When I looked back at it, and I may have been, a little... I may not have taken it in more of like a, in a reality.
Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Yeah, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. So, but I completely, totally see a lot of Schmoville's points, and nobody was mean or nasty. It was all very, very well thought out.
Yep, Schmoville
they're
is
awesome.
Yeah,
Schmoville is amazing. Like they are, and nobody was name-calling or being like, oh, this stupid girl, she doesn't know anything. She knows nothing. I'm Jon Snow. So, but I really appreciated everybody's points and opinions, and I thought it was just great to read them, and I spent like 3 hours at work doing that. So thanks everyone for ruining my schedule.
Your boss listens or not listens.
Didn't get any Excel spreadsheets
to
done.
test your theory. Waiting in the other room, I have a NASA scientist who has never been outside, and you're going to take him to dinner.
And we're going to film it.
Yeah.
I'll ask him about moon rocks and
the only shows he's watched are BBC originals of American shows,
and Modern Family for some reason.
And Modern Family. And,
Sofia Vergara.
But I get it. Chelsea Peretti actually has a joke. I won't even try to paraphrase it, but she has some joke about that too. Yeah, so again, it's a passion. It's out there. Yeah. But again, this is like your second go around in the website. You come out with this article, and it's like, all right, we got something here.
Yeah,
we got someone who's like, don't mess with Texas. I got an opinion, and here it is.
Yeah. I think. Yeah, I remember responding to your email then after when you said,
your mom's calling. Mark, should we answer that?
That's, no. Okay. It's there's two people in my life that I tell them when I'm doing something. Yeah. And
they both call?
And both people ignore and call. And my mother is one of them. Awesome. God love her. I do love her.
That's my grandmother. She's a sassy Southern belle. She doesn't care what I'm doing. She's like, the Spurs won last night. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, right.
So,
let's delve a little bit into you as a movie fan, Stacy.
Sure.
All right.
Let's do it.
When did the bug grab you?
The bug grabbed me when I was little. Sundays at my house were spent making pancakes in the kitchen and having an Indiana Jones trilogy marathon.
Nice.
Oh, my God.
So, that movies were a huge, huge part of my family, how we have relationships with one another, and especially my older brother, because we don't have a lot in common. He's 4 years older, so all of his, he was always in a different school than me, had a different friend group, but the one thing that he would let me, his annoying kid sister tag along with was movies. He would take me to see the Lord of the Rings trilogies, and that was, that was what we bonded over, what we still talk about. We text in memes. That's all we do is Lord of the Rings memes and Game of Thrones memes, just back and forth, 20 in a row. It's how we establish that bond and relationship as a big brother and a little sister. And, my dad he introduced me to the Bourne trilogies and to, Jurassic Park and all these just great fanboy films that girls like me typically don't go see, but I noticed that my brother and my dad were into them, and so I wanted to be into it too. And then I eventually developed my own love and my own relationship with these movies. So it was a really big part of my life. It still is. I mean, look, in my downtime, I'm doing stuff like this. Yeah. So, it's obviously a really big, passion point for me.
Absolutely. Favorite movies?
Favorite movies. Ugh.
You brought notes.
Finally,
she's getting to the notes.
Funny that you mentioned that, because I have a little Christian Harloff list right here. So
oh my God, that's like 8
when Stacy showed up,
so
folks,
long.
she had a box of cupcakes, and she said, "I didn't know what we were going to be talking about, but I brought notes."
Yes.
And Reilly and I are like, "This is a good girl."
Yeah,
this is a good girl.
And cupcakes.
And cupcakes. Notes and cupcakes. Yeah, like all girls.
Yeah.
So I love the darker, grittier dramas. I love films that are kind of make you think and kind of scare you. One of my favorite movies is Silence of the Lambs. I saw that when I was 8 years old. Way too young to see it, but it didn't scare me. It excited me. I thought it was so interesting, and I was like, all right, Dad, The Little Mermaid's great, but where has this been my whole life? What have you been feeding me? This Disney princess stuff. Okay, I love these very serious kind of, whether they're violent or scary or emotional or just have that deep deep message to them. So some of my favorite movies are, let's see. Oh, got the list. Okay. No Country for Old Men, There Will Be Blood. I love Zodiac. Eastern Promises, I think, is a completely underrated film. I love that movie. I love The Piano, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I think is a great film. Yeah. Silence of the Lambs, Doubt, Indiana Jones, Lord of the Rings trilogy. I love Train Spotting, Blue Valentine.
Blue Valentine. Oh, Blue Valentine.
That is a good movie.
It's one of the most depressing movies of all time. I love it.
It is.
Yeah.
That movie, when that movie ended.
That's real love right there.
Is it love?
It's something.
I wanted to go to
love that fell apart.
It's life.
I wanted to go to a cave and hide for 2 weeks.
It's a depressing movie, but I do like it a lot because it is, I guess, speaking as a divorced man, it does speak to the realities of a relationship that just kind of.
If you haven't seen that, folks, Blue Valentine, Michelle Williams and Gosling, right?
Yeah.
In a very unglamorous role. I mean, even the sex scene in it is so like realistically uncomfortable.
It's so awkward.
Yeah.
But it's like that's probably what would happen with a married couple that has been married for 6 years and then sex has gone out of their marriage and they don't have any passion left, so they're just like forcing it.
That's a punch to the gut. Sorry.
Fun fact, so they
There's
were
a fun fact attached to this.
Fun happy fact. They shot the first half of this movie, the falling in love part of the movie, and they were originally just going to leave it at that. Or the idea was that they shot it and said, okay, this is great. We're just going to make this a story about falling in love and call it Valentine. But then they waited a month, and Ryan Gosling and Michelle Williams lived in a house together, and they did all the things normal couples do.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they, went shopping. They learned how to, like, pick fights with each other and take care of the kids and everything. And so they aged themselves and aged the relationship, and then they shot the second half of the movie.
Wow.
And then they, were like, okay, here's Blue Valentine. We've completed it now. So, interesting.
It's interesting.
That they did a good job then.
Yeah. Well, and let me just comment on that list. That's a damn fine list.
There's a
Keep
lot
going.
Of
I
really
stopped you
good
because
ones.
that movie.
I have a lot in here.
Eternal Sunshine stands out to me. Train Spotting, one of my favorites.
Eternal Sunshine. The moment he says, "Why do I fall in love with every woman that looks at me?" I'm like, "This is my movie."
Yeah,
sold.
No, that's Charlie Kaufman's best.
I spent 5 years at a Chili's bar alone. I once tipped a waitress, Allison, $11 on a $9 bill. I think she took it home to spend on her boyfriend. But
no.
Yeah.
To spend on her boyfriend. 11?
I'm sure that's all he was worth. All right.
Hey, that's a matinee movie right there.
Absolutely.
You did her good. You were
absolutely. Back then,
respect.
back then, absolutely.
Yeah,
That's
and
so
then
what else you got?
Hellboy 2: The Golden Army is one of my favorite comic. Is that a comic film or is it a graphic novel?
It's
I'm not 100% sure on that.
Genre, yes.
Genre. I mean, the troll market scene alone is so amazing. Everything they created, and that tall statue at the end. It's like the what's it called?
It's a beautiful.
It's beautiful. It's so interesting to look. I love Guillermo del Toro. Is one of my favorite directors.
You said his name right. So you
Guillermo del
Guillermo
Toro.
God bless
del Toro.
JT.
Yeah, we're making fun of JT.
Oh, I can't say. Let's see. Oh, I love The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, the original Swedish version of the movies, as well as the American version. Reservoir Dogs, The People versus
These
Larry
are movies
Flint.
you want to watch with your parents, folks.
Yes. No. Please don't. Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy.
Really? You're okay.
Shame. I do, of course. I love, the Avengers and all of those kinds of movies.
But do you go to those movies? I'm not talking about literally go to them, but does your mind jump to those movies first or these other ones?
No, they jump to the dramas first. And, Fargo, Last King of Scotland.
Gotcha.
I do love Moonrise Kingdom. I love everything Wes Anderson does.
Me too. It's been a bittersweet journey, but yeah. It's my favorite director who I'm now like, hey, remember when he used to do other things differently?
And I actually just saw, I love Jim Jarmusch in his films. I just saw Only Lovers Left Alive. It was amazing.
You were talking about that.
So good.
Yeah.
It's a vampire film. It's not Twilight, though.
Yeah.
Not Twilight.
I only watch Twilight vampires.
I've never seen
He
Twilight.
has an entire Twilight DVD stack in the corner.
Me,
just want everyone to know.
Yeah. I think I've seen 30 minutes of the first Twilight.
He has a framed poster.
Yeah, right.
I think I read the first 10 pages of Twilight before the movies came out when I heard it was
by accident?
Yeah, no, the people, I don't know who told me.
He was on the toilet in the bathroom.
Somebody told me it's like Harry Potter, and I'm like, oh, okay.
No.
And I heard it was again before the movies. I threw that book across the room 10 pages in. I went, this is god awful.
They're terrible. And I've read them all.
I want to know, I read
lie.
1 page of 50 Shades of Grey and was I not even hate reading it. I
Okay.
couldn't. Yeah.
50 Shades of Grey. Here's the thing with those books. They're terribly written books.
Yeah.
I mean,
Fan fiction gone awry.
Oh, absolutely. She repeats phrases. She doesn't have a large vocabulary. The story isn't interesting. Here's the story. Spoiler alert for everybody listening. They meet, they fall in love, they break up, they get back together, they marry, they have a baby, whatever. It's not an interesting story, but the sex scenes are actually very interesting, very intricate, and it's stuff that I had never read before, because I've read romance novels before. I actually really like romance novels.
Okay.
So I wasn't like, oh no, a sex novel, gross. I was like, okay, I'm gonna read this.
Fair enough. I'm going to read it again, and I'll take notes.
Okay. That sounds good.
Yeah.
Learn to use all those little toys.
Yeah, learn to. God, my friend, that's a different. That's a different
genre of podcast.
My friend lives by the pleasure chest. They know me there.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So, all right. You have a wide variety. I don't even know if you're done, but
oh no, there's tons.
I'm sure. I mean,
it was funny too.
I see paragraphs on there.
I do too.
Yeah. Oh God, don't look at those.
If I could say,
being a dork and
I don't want to embarrass you. It's awesome. That's awesome, folks. This is a legit movie fan here.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, and that's what I like, because when I threw up the 50 Shades of Grey and it was a hit, and then I wanted to start throwing articles her way for news stuff. So I'm like, oh, can you list some of your favorite movies? And she did that. She did the same thing via email. Here they are. Whoom. And I was like,
300 movies.
I'm like, this is fantastic.
And
that's a movie fan right there.
Yeah, I have I have notes on my iPhone, or like my favorite thing, and I have an ongoing list of my favorite movies.
That's
and every
what you
time I
said.
see one, or remember one that I love, I just add it to there. And I have an ongoing list of movies to see. So all these ones that are coming out of that I heard of, and I haven't seen before, I'm like, gotta add it to the list. Another thing to do this weekend. So
yeah,
are you kind of organized?
I'm pretty organized.
You're good. You said
I'm color coordinated.
Yeah, you are. You color coordinated to your cupcakes.
I did. I'm wearing a pink shirt with a pink cupcake box, and I have a pink notebook. By God, what am I doing here?
That's okay. Before you showed up, I actually had a hamburger color shirt because I went to a hamburger dinner with Mark Reilly in my hamburger colored Camry.
Oh goodness!
No, I understand. Great. What? But I didn't see or hear a lot of comedies on there, right? You like to laugh, right?
I do. I love comedies, but they're not my go-to movies. But I guess you know what?
Why is that? I want to find out. I want to dig deep. Why is that, Stacy?
Because I can make myself laugh. I'm so funny.
Okay.
So that's a lie. That is a complete lie. Nobody listened to me. I do love comedies, but I don't know. Dramas, they're just my go-to, because I want to feel that emotion. And usually in a comedy, it's light and it's happy and it's funny, and you can pass the time for 2 hours. But I want to
You don't like those feelings, yeah.
Yeah.
You want dark.
I want dark. I want twisted.
Look,
I want scary.
I don't go to dramas, perhaps, but it's well documented on the show, and Schmelz know that when I do go to movies, it's like I've said, like The Shop Girl's a great example. Steve Martin's Shop Girl, I watched that movie.
Great film.
I watched that movie because that's me. Steve Martin is me in that movie, and when at the end of the movie he has to give up the girl but admits that he loves her, and I'm crying every time. I've seen the movie 30 times. I've read the book. So I'm drawn to any of those movies that make me I pick them out. I'm like a honey badger or a badger. Honey badger don't give no shits, but but I'm
honey
like
badger don't care.
Yeah, I'm like a hound, I should say. I'm a hound who's like, oh, that movie, Heartbreak.
Yeah. So would you consider Sideways a drama?
No, I consider that Heartbreak.
Heartbreak in life.
Like you mentioned earlier, and that's the theme of Shop Girl.
Yeah.
The last line is like, but it was life.
Because Sideways is that movie for me.
Okay.
I'm Miles. Yeah. I've drank too much wine. I was divorced. I write and my scripts aren't getting sold, and I feel whatever sometimes. So that it is considered a drama, but there's a lot of comedic elements to it.
That's a great movie.
And it was nominated for Oscars and all this kind of stuff. But that's the movie I watch all the time and go, what, like you said, that's me.
High Fidelity is the other one. That one changed.
High Fidelity,
and enlightened and ruined my life. The book included. Hornby is a big fan.
It's a great book.
But I'm asking this because and I don't. It's not like I always do that. I mean, Indiana Jones and Star Wars don't make me cry in that way. Right. Like Indy can't commit.
Yeah.
But enlisting all these dramas, Stacy, I'm thinking, what's going on in this girl's head? Is something wrong?
I know.
Eternal Sunshine is another one for me.
But that's because that movie ending is the best ending to any romantic theme. We're gonna get bored of each other. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Best ending. I love that ending.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, let's go back to your head.
What's
going on?
Wrong
What's wrong?
With me,
you like these dramas?
I do.
I'm intrigued by that. It means there's some darkness going on there, right, Stacy?
There's,
Get it out. Come on. You got the pink
there's
cupcakes,
some darkness
everything.
inside me. I was supposed to be the chosen one.
Right.
But
You
I
were
went
the
to the dark
chosen
side.
one.
Oh, Ewan McGregor!
Oh my God!
Y'all
Ewan
yell.
McDonald. Well, okay. Find that quickly. Find the happiest movie on there, and I want to see.
Oh, Election?
Oh, I love
Is that the
Election.
happiest?
love
But
it.
Secretary is really good too. If you haven't seen Secretary,
Definitely not the happiest.
okay, but they end up together in the end.
I guess.
Oh, that's right. They do.
They get
do.
married because they're both,
Yeah.
into the same things, and she eventually
one way
gets
of
him
saying
to.
Yeah.
She's
He likes to put a saddle on her and put a carrot in her mouth. It's love. It's love.
Shameless plug for the website.
What?
Her Netflix picks or some indie picks that she does. You know the type of movies she likes from reading those articles. Because again, that's her. I've coined it Stacy's take.
Stacy's take.
So
let's find. I want to find Election. I love Election. One of my favorite
funny.
movies.
Mine
Read
too.
that book in one night.
Me too.
But it's a dark comedy.
It
It's not
is.
necessarily happy. So I want some happiness. I want some
Oh my
pure,
gosh.
unadulterated
Okay,
happiness, Stacy.
Here's some happiness. This is not a comedy technically, and this is one of my favorite movies of all time. And people are always shocked that I say this. So just wait.
I'm waiting.
Hold your breath. The Mummy. From 1999. I know.
Hey,
Hear
that's
me
it.
out though.
Patricia Velasquez and Rachel Weisz make me happy, so I can see that.
Hear
that's
me out
that's
about
an
this.
adventure, like
It
kind
is.
of in the vein of Indiana Jones,
Yeah,
sort
and
of.
you know-
Brendan Fraser is the kind of Indiana
He's so
Jones.
handsome in it. Because that was the first movie where I was like, I want to see this movie. Because before it was my dad or my brother or my mom telling me, okay, you should check out this movie. Let's watch it this weekend as a family. That was the first movie where I saw the trailer and I was like, holy shit, I want to see this film. I made my parents take me to see it like 6 times in theaters. I love Egyptology now as a subject that I'm like really into.
I do like that too, yeah.
I went on a cruise with my family in the Mediterranean, and they told me I could pick the route, and I picked the one that went to Egypt just because
That's
I
awesome.
love that topic because of this movie. So I know it's not the best
Cool.
movie.
So I ate Mediterranean
but I
in
love
Burbank
it.
one week. That's the farthest I got.
I just love. So that's
This
one
is,
of
by the
my
way, it's also
only
showing
feel-good
the
movies on
slight
here.
age difference. I'm putting quotations around the word slight. She's like, The Mummy is like the first movie I decided to see myself. And I'm like, oh, mine was Flight of the Navigator.
Yeah, I know. Mine was Star Wars 1977.
Yeah, there's not a lot of comedies on here, but it's not my
I
favorite
get that's
genre.
not your thing. I'm not saying I want to change you as a person here, Stacy. I'm just, that stood out to me. It's a lot of darkness there. Eastern Promise. You're like, oh, one of my favorite movies is Eastern Promises. What?
It is that
good
scene when
movies.
he's getting the tattoos and he's like,
Yeah.
your mother was a whore and your father never. Whatever. It's great.
When he takes out the bodyguards in the steam shower, completely naked.
He's like naked and he's like cutting up all these dudes and I'm like, oh my, their balls are just swinging everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean,
swinging balls.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's
I can only imagine like some gentleman. I met this great girl, Stacy. We went on a movie, but it was some movie about some murder, and everyone was crying, and then there was a bad sex scene between a husband and wife who were getting divorced.
and she was laughing
And she was like,
hysterically.
"This is
Something's wrong with her.
And then Brendan Fraser showed up, and she was just like, "This is the best movie ever."
And I'm
Funny
like,
story.
you want to see How to Train Your Dragon?
Funny story. I did go on a date to see The Place Beyond the Pines, and I was like, "Oh, this movie's so good! I loved it." And I turned to the guy, and he was like, "I didn't like that movie at all. You like these kinds of movies?" And I was like, "On to the next one." Never
right.
called him again. I mean,
All
we went
right.
to Applebee's after and got wasted on their,
Applebee's.
$2
Applebee's.
Long Island
Applebee's.
iced teas.
All right.
But you can't pass that up.
You just
I'm
sprung
not
a
gonna-
conversation point with me. And Reilly, fair enough to ask with you. This is one of my favorite topics. Years ago, I wrote a music article when I was a music journalist. I wrote this about syncing up your genres of like and what you do, and how I once dated a woman that made me like Tori Amos for 2 months. And then when we parted ways, I burned all those CDs, not because of her, but because of Tori Amos. And that's not saying that Tori Amos is not talented, because she is talented. It's just not my genre.
Do you know
of music.
I like Tori Amos? Did you know that?
Dude, I had tickets to Lilith Fair. Sarah McLachlan's one of my
I can't do that.
Okay,
I'll go see Tori Amos.
Before she started singing about dogs, when she was this Canadian ingenue. That was when I was in rock radio. I made the rock radio station play Sarah McLachlan.
There you go. There you go.
So you just said it. You're with a gentleman, a suitor. He's declaring his intentions, and you're like, "Did you like that movie?" And he's like, "No." And you're like, "See ya."
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Is that tremendously important to either of you in relationships?
You know, it's funny. Just we had Film Drunk on a couple weeks ago. Yeah, we're doing we're sharing articles. He's putting up the deal breaker movies. Gotcha. So it's very, very funny that you're bringing that. Should be coming up pretty soon. Yeah, I went on a date off of Tinder.
Yeah,
and it was just
he liked and she liked.
I liked and she liked, and we talked and we did the hike in a public place, of course. And we were walking, and she just said, she's like, "Yeah, what's your favorite movie?" And I was like, "Oh, hands down, E.T. It's my favorite movie of all time." She goes, "Oh, I hate that movie."
Oh,
and I went, "You hate E.T.?" She went, "I hate E.T." And I went, "Have you not seen E.T. in a long time?"
She probably hates puppies. What's wrong with this
and she's
woman?
like, "Oh, it just. I think, it's not that I hate E.T. I think I just hate Spielberg movies." That was it for me. I was like, deal breaker.
You're in my Napzok File Studios. My roommate, this is most of his stuff. Some of this is my stuff. We're a Simpsons house, but this Simpsons is his passion. True story, in downtown Cleveland, he was on a date years ago, and he has Simpsons stuff in his car, and a girl was like, "Oh, you like the Simpsons?" He's like, "Yeah, it's my favorite show." She's like, "I don't like cartoons." Stop. Kicked her out of the car.
Seriously?
Yeah. Mid-date.
Oh,
left her. You can write an article about that, Stacy.
I will.
Hilarious.
But I have found over the years, it's you look, if you love someone, you're not, just because she doesn't like Star Wars, you're not going to be like, "Hit the bricks, kid." But it's definitely a building block. Would you say?
Absolutely. And I mean, they don't have to like the same kind of movies I do, or even like movies in general, but don't judge me because of the movies that I love.
Thank you. That's a good point.
As you
I wasn't judging you, Stacy. I was concerned for your psyche.
I'm sorry.
No, and that's what I felt with that, the E.T. comment. "Oh, I hated E.T. Like, how can..." Well, because she then couched it as, "How can you like that?" That felt very judgmental.
Look, that true story about years ago now, time flies. There was I know I've told the story before in the Napzok Files, but I'll hash it up. There was a young manager of a store at my work that I talked to all the time, and she was my genre of girl, short Hispanic girl.
Okay.
That was my jam at the time.
That's your jam.
And I had, on one level, had no shot because I think I was 20 years older than her at this time. Yeah. But we were talking. There's some flirting going on, this and that, and I made some reference to, I said, "Thank the maker," and she stared at me blankly, and I went,
"Star Wars?
C-3PO?
C-3PO? No."
Blankly. I went, "Star Wars?" She's like, "Is that movie when the girl has the funny hair?" I was like,
"Yep."
Good day to you, man.
She said that. Oh,
if I'm lying, I'm dying.
Yeah.
And it was, and we continued to be, friends and whatnot, and obviously I've still found her attractive, but it was like, that 5 years down the line, that would be a problem. That would be a problem.
That would be, a bump in the road.
If you had been like, "Oh yeah, well, Star Wars," if you didn't get the quote, fair enough. But if you were like, "C-3PO, oh, Star Wars," I've seen it a couple times, not my thing, but
the
blank slate.
Right.
That happened to me the other day. I was texting some actor guy I had met, and I was saying, "Oh, did you see?" We were talking about Game of Thrones because it was going to be on, I think, 2 hours after that, and I said, "Did you see?" Brienne of Tarth from Game of Thrones got cast in the new Star Wars Episode 7. And he was like, "Oh, I've never seen those movies," and I was like, "Oh, what?" Yeah. And it's just like, it's hard because if something is such a part of your life, or if movies are like, so if they're important to you, and the other person is like, "I've never seen that," like looks at you like you're an idiot, it's game over. Game over, man. Game over.
Exactly.
That's a quote from E.T., right, Mark?
That's
sure. E.T. says that.
Sure. Not from the movie.
Not from E.T.
Oh,
But there's aliens in it.
Oh, okay.
There's aliens.
Journey of Natty Gann. I got it. Okay.
Oh boy.
That's right. I made a Journey of Natty Gann reference.
Yes, I know. I don't even know what that is.
Cusack, 83. It's one of his. It's a
Disney
that's
movie.
Right.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, that's like Depression era movie. No, everything I watch is Depression era. But Well, good. I'm always curious. You sparked me. You were like, guy and everything. I think it's more difficult with music a little bit.
Yeah.
Music's a little bit more personal. I was, about 10 years ago now, I was set up with someone, and my friend brought me over to his dad's house, and his parents' house, I should say, and it was like an employee of his mom, and it was like this group meetup, but it was like, hey, you and Alma, you should totally,
She's cute.
you should
Go
have
there.
sexual duets, like this is it.
You should have sexual duets.
Penetrate her.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is great, let's do it. And I had met her previously, and I was like, yeah, awesome, let's go. And we sat down at dinner, and music came up, and my friend's dad is a huge music fan, and I had worked in rock radio, as most people know, and we were talking about classic rock, and he had a theory about, well, I think classic rock technically ended in 1972. We're talking, I turned to her, I'm like, hey, yeah, what kind of music do you want? Like, and she went, whatever's on the radio. I literally went, so Gary, I think... and we never spoke pretty much the rest of the night.
Oh, God.
May you not make sex.
Yeah.
No penetration.
Yeah, and she was an attractive young lady, and I had no problem just be like, well, we're shut down. Goodbye. Anyways, bread and Badfinger. Let me tell you about Neil Young.
Yeah, that's
so.
funny. I guess you're talking about passion, though, with people, and if there's like, to me, for a movie fan, it sounds like, I just show up to a theater and whatever's playing, I'll just watch it, or
as famously discussed in Schmoville, I'm not like that. I pick and choose my movies. It's amazing I'm even working in a movie podcast, but I always argue that you need someone who's a little outside of it to lay down the law.
Absolutely.
I'm and you probably do that too, huh, Stacy?
Yes.
You're like, oh, what's playing in the theater? Don't care. I'm going to figure it out when I get there.
No, I'm very particular when it comes to my movies. But, I do...
Really? That list is 42 pages long.
I have a novella here. It's so long. It's ridiculous. I mean, I obviously am trying way too hard. But
no, you're not. It's adorable in a way. It's like you came ready to play. Like, hey guys, I know my stuff.
I did, and the title on the top of it is Topics for Podcast.
Yeah. By the way, folks, she
titled
her notes for the Napzok class.
I did. That's so nerdy. I have highlights in my purse. I can't get over it.
This is great. This is
Tracy
your first.
Flick. I am Tracy Flick from Election.
Oh my God, she is.
Well, we hope those cupcakes. I hope we're going to eat those.
She did have cupcakes in the movie.
Yeah, we're going to eat those in a bit. You had said, we said, should we have a cupcake before the show? And you said, no, you can do it on air as a reward if you've been good enough. So
there we go.
I hope we.
I said as our reward, not as a reward.
I
for
felt
you guys.
that you were judging us.
Okay, let's calm down.
Oh boy.
They're just calling our name though. Look at them. Eat me.
And we won't not touch the strawberry one because you said you want the strawberry.
No, I like the vanilla one.
Oh,
the other one.
I thought you said strawberry because it color coordinates with your shirt.
No, that'd be too much pink. That's too much
there's
pink.
too much pink.
The vanilla one does have pink on it though, so that still counts.
That
okay,
works.
Don't make me panic. I'm supposed to be color coordinated.
Yeah.
This all doesn't matter because there's the red velvet is just calling my name.
It is.
Too.
Yeah.
I got it just for you because I think I saw somewhere that you liked red velvet cupcakes.
I don't know.
Cake.
Yeah.
Here's what I've also noticed about Stacy. If you are in her universe, she will research you.
Yes.
Oh, sure.
Oh, you commented on my thing? I'm going to Facebook to figure out.
I Googled it.
Yeah, Mark Reilly's going to hire me.
Googling.
He likes red velvet.
I know. Maybe yes. Wait. Was that you stalking me at Sprinkles the other day?
Yeah,
It was me.
You come well prepared. Reilly, the website has transitioned here, as we talked about last week, but it's gone. I'm trying to remember when schmozno.com first popped up. It was around 2007. When I called up Christian and went, hey, Stand Up Friend, that's a pretty good website. It was like a few years removed from GeoCities. Yeah. But the website was awesome, and it's grown. And then I took it over in 2012 for a while, and about jumped out of a tall building because I couldn't do that and produce a podcast and all my other writing and everything, and run a pro wrestling company and all that crazy stuff I was doing back then. And then handed over to you famously on that street corner in Ventura Boulevard. I was like, why don't you help me? Here you go. Bye. Zoinks. And I ran away. It's transitioned from think pieces and little spices and occasional talks about this and that, and check our review to suddenly, hey, there's news. And we talked about last week about how you had to make, you, Christian, and Mark made that decision to, we're going to become a news outlet.
Yeah.
And we got sources. We got the Phantom.
We have the Phantom.
And then along the way, now you're expanding, and not just with Stacy, but with some of our other writers like Alex Welsh and
who's
Joe,
great. Love him.
Yeah.
Joe Ruggiero, a.k.a. Shoesy Pants, who is not banned from my house. He can come.
He's banned from my house.
Yeah, fact.
Mine too. I've never met him, but he's banned.
You're onto it. You're smart, Stacy.
Yeah.
And who else? I'm missing. Who else is writing for the site? Copster, of course. He's doing a good job.
Yeah, Copster.
You got the guy covering video games.
Yeah, David De La Riva.
And some others. And there's others at our disposal who had written before. We'll maybe eventually bring back Matt Key, of course, wrote a lot of stuff. But
Matt Key, Captain Dan.
Yeah.
We have actually
Dan Farron wrote for a while. I'd like to get Dan back into it if I can grab him.
Josh Cavedo just did an article. He did a Godzilla article before Godzilla came out. He just threw up another article. He's good. He's coming around. I am trying to expand and bring in more.
We always talk about phases on the podcast, aping the Marvel phase movies, phase 1, 2, and 3. The website moves on to another phase. Where do you see it going next?
Just expanding more with the writers. Having more writers, especially. Yeah, she's taking notes. You really are. Don't take notes. Don't.
I am. I'm pressuring him right now. Say something good.
Okay. Starbucks. So the website, I definitely want it to be a lot of voices, a lot of good, so that not only is there articles that are posted about what the news is obviously happening, but I'd like to also we need more television coverage. We need more comic book coverage.
Right.
So more writers, more articles. I would definitely like to have our writers do more think pieces, so that you can go there and not have to just do movie news.
And I don't know if think piece is a real term. I just take it from Almost Famous.
No, that's fine.
Another movie that makes me sad in the end.
Again, it's to go off of Stacy's article that caused that controversy. I would love to have that more, more. And I want to be writing more good, not good, but articles that
you write good now. Yes.
I write good now.
I see it as maybe what you're describing is you want someone to click for that Aquaman story, and stay for the other things we got.
Absolutely,
there. You want them to stay and play a little bit.
Yes, I want you to stay and play, and so that means expanding the writer base.
Stay and play is also my profile on Tinder.
There we go. But also posting, being able to post all the trailers that come out.
Yeah,
that takes a lot of time to do, unfortunately, and there's not a lot of staff yet to do that.
Right.
But so it is the stay and play. You can come, you can see your new trailer that you might not have known that there's a new drama out that I know what the audience is right now, what gets the big clicks, like Dawn of the Planet of the Apes or the Godzilla or the Star Wars trailer that would come out. That's
is Star Wars news waning at all?
Sort of.
Is there an overexposure?
There is. There was before the actual announcement.
Gotcha.
Because we got to that point where nothing was being announced. So anytime somebody farted and it sounded like Star Wars, people would write up on it. And it became that Schmoville started to say, I'm tired of this. I listened, and I got tired too. Yeah. I would see, Latino Review post something, and they say Jonathan Reyes-Myers is going to be in it, and and that got a lot of clicks, and we did post it. But then towards the end, it was like we're hearing, there's going to be an Emperor Force Ghost, and it's like, look, you could hear that there's going to be a Yoda Force Ghost. You could hear anything right now. It's all speculation.
What I would say on my Schmo's headlines would be like newsflash, movie that takes place in space.
Yes, it started to become that.
Yeah.
And I did have a conversation with Christian where I'm like, I'm getting sick of these. I'm a little Star Wars burnout, unless it's like legit, like Hollywood Reporter, Variety, and or our own scoop that we trust from our sources, or somebody like Latino Review, who has shown that a friend of the show, even HitFix, who broke the Jason Momoa. They have a good lineage, a good pedigree. So that's what I will post. I do not post a lot of the speculation pieces now that are filling up the interwebs, like Mara Jade is going to be in it, and I know this because Karen Gillian shaved her head and it made to a wig and now it's in Star Wars. Like, How do we know that?
Oh, is that a fact?
Yeah, that's a fact, and that's me being tired.
And I don't know if you've thought of this, but I see it now. The course of this last 58 minutes here is. Over here, we got our Tracy Flick, who's making cupcakes and taking notes. We should send her as a reporter in the field.
I think so.
bet she could get some scoops.
Oh, I certainly could. I've been known to be persuasive.
Yeah,
I think
in my time. You know, so
I
could try
idea.
and get some scoops.
You know,
you could just send me to movies for free. That could be a start. You know.
Yeah.
That I might just want some free movie tickets. That's what I'm saying. Just give me free movie tickets.
That's
like that.
Christian Harloff, if you're listening, please
Christian,
contact
take notes.
Stacy at Twitter.
Yeah.
At SO Howard 2012.
Perfect. She picked up on that.
Yeah, you know, it's like, you know, send her into a party. It's like a James Bond, or if you're reading the comic series Velvet right now, which is a female kind of spy leading the charge. Like, hey, dress up nice, do something to your hair, go get the scoop.
Yeah.
That's what I do at every party I ever go to.
Right.
You
on,
go in
Lois
and get
Lane.
the scoop. What kind of drinks are there? What kind of boys? You know,
Right.
are the booze waning,
I'm putting
or
this
are
all
they there?
together, Mark, for you as the editor-in-chief.
I
You're
love
like
this.
J.K. Simmons in the corner going, get the scoop, gal.
Yeah.
Go in there.
What? You're
up?
fired.
Right away.
Wait a minute. Give me that. You're hired.
Yeah, this
That's
is better
right. I want for it.
It's better than Spider-Man 2. So the website's still evolving. I like this stay and play. It's
Yeah.
Look, I love Grantland. Grantland's always been one of my models for Schmoville. Outside of they don't do a lot of the daily news, but you go there for a while. It's some of the best wrestling information. David Shoemaker's piece was Adam Greenwald. The Game of Thrones reviews are the best that I can find on the net. That's what you kind of see it.
Yeah, and also to expand on that, the more writers, the more articles there are, the more topics there are for discussion, which is Schmoville, which is this website is a community where you go and visit, and you're going to get your entertainment news, you're going to get think pieces, trailers, all that kind of stuff. But you can also drop in a comment and know that you're safe to say, I'm not thrilled about this movie, or I am over the moon for this movie, and somebody could say, you know, really, I'm not into it. Oh, why not? And then the discussion happens.
It's a safe environment.
It is.
Christian and Mark Ellis have done such a great job of creating a community. I say that over and over because, and Stacy's an example. You show up. Look, it would be speaking frankly, it would be very easy to discount you. You are a young girl. You got stars in your eyes. You're bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. You like nerds. I'm going to write about movies. It'd be very easy for fans of movies to be like, nope.
Yep.
She doesn't know anything.
She doesn't know anything.
Yeah,
I've been
she's
look
not part of this
our very
world.
own Tiffany Smith, who knows everything about comics. I've been at comic conventions shooting things with her, and I've seen guys behind selling comics questioning her.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, she's on DC All Access.
I know, it's like,
a-hole.
and just because we know Tiffany
Yeah.
so well, it's like, how can you question Tiffany?
Yeah, but
You know,
but
and
it's very easy. It's just a reality. But
Yes.
on the schmozno.com, I don't think I've seen that. I think they've welcomed you with open arms.
They did.
For the most part, other than this guy.
They have. Even if they don't agree with, what I'm writing about or and a lot of them, they're like, oh, well, you know what? I actually really enjoyed that movie, and and sometimes they'll suggest things to me like, "Oh, Stacy, you should go see that new James McAvoy film, Filth, and talk about it in your next Indie Flicks." And I will. I'm doing it like tonight when I get home. It's a community because it's not only discussions; it's like you introduce people to new topics and new subjects that they maybe didn't know about, and it's fascinating.
So, what are some of the things you want to write about now for us?
Oh gosh!
Without spoiling what you might be writing, what are some things you might expect
I
from you
have this
coming up?
really weird, very strange idea. I'm trying to work it out. It's where you take famous pep talks from movies and turn them into like a real life pep talk that you can give someone. Like the one from Toy Story, where he's trying to give a pep talk to Buzz, and he's, you can change a few words and be like, "You are a cool guy. Your hair does that whoosh thing." Like you can just change a few words, and it's really complicated, but that's the kind of stuff that I write.
It's
Like
a
I
think
just
piece.
think of these wild ideas, and
Right.
I just run with it. And you
I'm
post
loving
them
it
'cause
too.
You're sweet.
yeah, no, again,
He never says no to me.
No.
Because I bring cupcakes.
yeah,
Well-
the cupcakes, and they're good.
To be
So to be fair, they're good.
Mark Reilly's kind of a jerk, and I've dealt with this for
No,
a couple
he's
years now. So if he's posting things, it's because he sees the merit.
Yes.
Anything else? Anything else? Any insight to what you're going to write?
Oh gosh, I mean, just upcoming movies. I get these ideas from whatever movies I saw, people I talked to that day. I listened to the podcast from Thursday, and there was talk of 22 Jump Street. And so in my mind, I was thinking about this new subgenre that's come about, the bromance films. And I was like, bromance films, they're like the new rom-com. Like, they are one of the, bread and butter genres of the industry, and they're making more money than all these regular boy and girl rom-coms. So I wrote an article about it. And that's one of my favorite articles I've ever done. So.
I really liked it too, and I put it up, and it's there now. You can see it on schmozno.com.
Schmozno.com, your source for movie news, reviews, and clues.
I love that. And it's true. She wrote that. I thought it was very interesting because these movies that are happening now, these bromances, there hasn't, in my opinion, been a good romantic comedy in a very long time. Sure, you could go to whatever.
What was the last ones you think? Blue Valentine?
When Harry Met Sally.
I've seen 70 times.
I love that movie, and that was one of my top 10 favorite movies of all time. And I wouldn't even call it a rom-com because it's just it's more of a
the great granddad of the genre.
It is
number one.
It is.
But I don't know. The rom-coms, I haven't really seen a good one in a long time.
Silver Linings Playbook was pretty good. That was almost an ensemble piece versus just about them, the boy and the girl in it.
That movie was split for me in two parts because everyone knows I love Jennifer Lawrence. So that's not a secret, especially to the authorities. But that movie was kind of, no pun intended, bipolar. I think probably by intention.
Yes.
Where it was
totally
drama ensemble, but also then it turned into romantic comedy, and I was on board by the time it switched.
Yeah.
I was happy. That's maybe why I didn't like it as much as I should, because I left happy, which is a bad sign for movies.
But I couldn't. In my opinion, I wouldn't classify that as a rom-com. I would classify it more as
the traditional horrible Katherine Heigl with her arms folded back.
God, I hate her so much.
Yes, thank you.
Kills me. She's the bane of my existence.
I do miss a good rom-com. I do miss a good, something
done right.
It's a good genre and it's fun.
They tried with the No Strings Attached or Friends with Benefit.
That was the same movie. Same movie.
They
that was
tried.
Her point.
Yeah, they tried, and other than one of my favorite bands of all time, Semisonic, getting some play, I didn't like anything about those movies. It was.
No, I stay away from them like the plague.
Yeah.
Because you know what you're going to get, and especially if it's. Thankfully, Gerard Butler has kind of reinvented himself finally, because I felt, and Matthew McConaughey for that matter, I felt there was every year it was either you're putting Gerard Butler with Katherine Heigl, or Matthew McConaughey with Katherine Heigl, or Jennifer Lopez with Katherine Heigl and Matthew McConaughey, and it's just whatever you get, I hated those movies so much.
They're just following the formula. There's nothing unique about them. I don't want to go see them because I know what's going to happen. They're going to meet meet cute. They're going to fall in love. They're going to have some kind of conflict. They're going to break up. They're going to get back together in some kind of dramatic, let's go meet at the Hollywood Forever Cemetery with the movie's playing. Oh my God, I love you.
It's what I call
roll credits.
Trailer-made movies, where it's like this summer, ding, 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 two people are going to bump into each other.
Adam Sandler, Drew Barrymore in their next movie, because that's what I'm sure blended is. I didn't see it, so I'm not going to judge it, but I just know that's probably a rom-com-ish. They're at least from the trailers. But even going to the trailer stuff that you guys were talking about, I remember is it Fool's Gold?
Oh, yeah.
With Matthew McConaughey.
Exactly, yes.
That movie trailer started playing, and I was with my ex at the time, and I looked over and I went, it's called Fool's Gold. And then the trailer, and then the titles came up, and she went, "How did you know that?" And I go, "Because it's shit. It's because I can call it."
We got time for the side topic here, but I think it started to shift late '90s. Where it went. Harry Met Sally was '89, and everyone went yes, yes, yes. And look, I actually enjoyed My Best Friend's Wedding.
Oh yeah,
say what you will.
Me too. Notting Hill, I really enjoyed.
Notting Hill for Weddings and a Funeral.
Yes.
And all of a sudden it became, hey, there's some money to be made here.
Yes.
We got Go Picture. Put these kids together. They fall in love.
Yeah.
Obstacles ensue.
Yes.
Hugh Grant, go.
Yeah, I know. Hugh Grant and a blue door.
It was
brilliant.
And for one of the turning points for me was actually that Hugh Grant movie. Was it 9 months?
Oh, with Julianne Moore.
Julianne Moore, Robin Williams, and it was like, oh no.
Yeah, there was moments, but that's a really good point, dude.
Had the prostitute with what's her
Divine
name?
Brown.
Divine Brown.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw the article.
I vaguely
I don't know if you were
remember
alive when that
happening.
happened.
No,
but she sends me her articles, and I always dress them up with some pictures, and for the bromance, she mentioned Hugh Grant, and so I went and found his mugshot, and I had already put a picture. I already put a picture up where I had to credit the image. To somebody that made a really cool picture, and then when I put the Hugh Grant mugshot, I said photo credit the police.
That's awesome.
So anyways.
But see, I know a little bit about movies, Reilly. I know on Schmoes No I say I don't.
No, but you do. But you're
9 months.
No, sorry,
not
9
9.5 weeks. Different.
Different film, much more honey involved in that one. Sex
you're
in the
9
sewer.
months. Yeah, right. You're 9 months.
They caught tetanus during that
knows this.
scene. I know they did.
You probably double featured it with Secretary.
Yeah. But that reference, that's a really good call, because I think that's where it did turn. Mm-hmm. It started to really turn for the worst. Mm-hmm.
I think so.
And the cookie cutter.
Believe me, I was there, man.
Yeah. Matthew McConaughey just go grab someone from Grey's Anatomy. And
Grey's Anatomy or Grey's Anatomy?
Did it come out like that?
Grey's Anatomy?
It's gay porn, I think. Grey's Anatomy.
Grey's Anatomy. Yeah.
Different show. That's on the Logo Network.
Analyzing the body.
Yep.
That was terrible. That was such a poor taste joke.
Stacy, you're fired.
I'm taking my cupcakes and going.
You're hired.
Wait, come back here.
I don't know where we had got off tangent, but it's a passion. Because I loved romantic comedies. I believe it or not, at one point I believed in love. And I'm talking to a man who once watched Pretty Woman 5 times in one day. Like, these are all true facts.
Yeah.
I have When Harry Met Sally memorized.
Oh my God, I
almost
do
as
too.
much as I do Return of the Jedi. As we learned the other night when we watched Jedi at Christian's house, and you and me wouldn't shut up, and everyone else wanted us to leave the room. Mm-hmm. The Emperor's coming here. So it's to see it go off the rails. I would like to see it kind of come back in some way.
And because those films, they used to have a point to them. Like when Harry Met Sally, the question was, can man and women be friends without the sex getting in the way?
Yes.
Annie Hall, all those films, like they had a question, a central question they were trying to answer or get to. And all these movies, it's just like, oh, love, break up, get back together. Yeah. There's no there's no meat to them. Yeah. There's no deep-ended question that they're trying to get to. They're just pointless.
Yeah, and I think to go off of that, I think When Harry Met Sally, as wonderful as that movie is, you could maybe say that it was a concept to say, can men and women be friends? So they ran with that, but I wouldn't call it that really, because that's more of just it's a great movie.
Right.
But now they look for the high concept and the actors, and it's either Ashton Kutcher or Justin Timberlake, and doing the same thing, and no strings attached.
Let's see them fall in love, and
and I would like that too, Stacy. I do think that there needs to be questions for these movies to be made.
We're in a very cynical time, so to speak, and so some of this stuff isn't. It'd be hard to revitalize the genre. I think you got something like Blue Valentine, which is way too dark, but I love that movie. It's great. But it's like, I look at one of my favorite TV shows of all time was Ed, Tom Cavanaugh, Julie Bowen.
Oh yeah,
and they're the will they won't they characters, and then you can't find the show anywhere, so I'm not spoiling it anymore.
Yeah,
they get together, and the show's nowhere near done.
Yeah.
And then the reality sets in, and they actually end up breaking up. And these two will they, won't they characters, now you deal with the reality of them actually getting together. And that's what I think we've turned to. We want more realism. So even when Harry Met Sally nowadays, you look, someone who sees it for the first time now might be like, oh, well, I saw that coming. Yeah. But at the time, it took you on a journey with them.
Yes.
Yes. So anyways, Riley, we gotta come up with something. You and I
know. We should.
Stacy will get exec produce credit.
Okay.
We'll come up with
We can come up with something.
I feel like I can just Google it and find out how to make a movie. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
That's pretty much how most of the CEOs do it.
Yeah, I know. Pretty much. Have we remade that? I don't know. Google it.
What do we need? Is that a comic book? Buy it. Turn it into a movie.
I know. Do you remember Taxi? No, we made that already. Oh, okay. Yeah, shit.
Did people like Jurassic Park? Yeah, reboot it.
Yeah.
No, they're doing it. It's Jurassic World. No. Just remake the first one.
Yeah. It's very
get
true.
One of the little toy dinosaurs and get a very small, scale camera.
That's
and
pretty much
it'll
what
be
filmmaking
fine.
is.
It'll be fine.
That's what the Rancor monster was, right?
Yeah. And Ashton Kutcher. Just put him in there.
Just put him.
Yeah.
And then to go this summer.
Go picture.
And you got go picture, kid. We got to do that game on the movie show. We got to do that for a while.
I know.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Wow, this has been a little bit of a journey. Before we leave, though, this is a bonus. This is a longer episode than we normally do because I want time to take a bite into these cupcakes.
Let's do it.
Stacy, which one do you
mine.
want?
I'm getting this
she called it.
vanilla one.
All right, Reilly, you want to
red velvet?
If Stacy wants to pass you the red velvet, or I can
will.
do it.
I'm going to stick my fingers right in the frosting.
Oh,
Just calm down.
I can't eat that now.
Much like the movie Secretary. I'm gonna have the chocolate
Let me go
one
get
here.
the saddle. I'll climb on.
Oh boy!
All right. Thank you, Stacy, for coming on the show and introducing yourself in a grand fashion to the Schmoes world and the
Thank you.
Napzok Files listeners, and probably my mother, who will be like, "She's got a dirty mouth."
She said shit 2 times. I didn't like it. That's my own mother that I'm sure is texting me right now.
That's good. That is solid.
They're delish. I told you.
That's a good cupcake.
Riley doesn't even have words.
That's a damn good cupcake.
Delicious. Well,
This is
thank
what-
you for having me.
No
I mean,
problem.
I really enjoyed coming on, and I'd love to come back.
Absolutely.
And of course, I will continue to write. Sorry, I'm chewing.
No,
to write on the
it's
show.
great radio
Riley-
to eat on the microphone, but we're doing it anyways.
That sounded gross.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
absolutely. And please continue to write. I'm so glad
Yes.
you've taken to what we've really tasked you to do in Schmoes in the land there.
Yeah.
And to say that you're just providing your female voice is to undercut that you are providing an experienced movie fan's voice to
Absolutely.
the website.
I have 78 pages of.
She's not lying,
of
folks.
favorite movies. So.
She's not lying, folks. And I do predict, though, that a lot of the Schmoes fans are going to listen to this, and you'll probably get a lot of marriage proposals in your Facebook inbox.
Probably.
Just be careful. Put on a filter.
Okay.
Put on a filter.
I think I already warned her.
I've had a few on Twitter, a few Woman Crush Wednesdays, and they're very flattering. Keep doing
Yeah.
it because it makes my day.
We'll tell
you know?
Ellis to stop.
Oh no.
Mark Reilly,
Yes.
thanks again for returning to
Of
the
course.
studios.
Thank you for
I've
having
spent a
me,
lot of
as
time
always.
with you the last couple of days, and it's
Yeah.
been a joy and a pleasure.
I appreciate it.
Opening up on episode 39, opening up about Tinder and your relationship now and all that good stuff.
Hey,
And,
man.
where can they find you on Twitter, of course?
Reilly Around, REILLY Around, and schmoesno.com. Every
And
day.
Stacy, again, you mentioned earlier, but please, where can they stalk you find you on social media?
On Twitter, my name is @SOHoward2012, and of course, you can read all my articles on schmoesno.com. And they also post my articles on the Schmoesno Facebook. So if you want to comment on them and leave your opinions, I always read them. I try and read all the comments and see what people say and listen, and I let it influence my writing and see what's out there. So absolutely, leave a comment. Come visit the Facebook and the website.
You're doing great, and I know what's going to happen. Like the NFL, copycat. Someone wins the Super Bowl, and every team wants to run the same playbook.
Yeah.
There's probably a lot of Schmoville fans out there who are like, I want to write for the site. I know we get them already, but Reilly, excuse me. Where can they write you?
It's at schmoeseditor@gmail.com.
You put that out there bravely.
I did.
But hey, we never know where our next talent will come from.
It's my writers have come from Schmoville.
This is a prime
it's honest.
example. Someone who was like, I saw these guys. I like these guys. I'm going to call into their show and give them a piece of my mind.
Exactly.
And now she's
that was-
an up-and-coming talent in the Schmoes No Land.
Yep. And Alex Welsh again. He was
Alex
a
as well.
Schmovillian. So, door is open, I will say.
And me, too. I won a contest to spend the day with Mark Ellis.
Yeah.
And I've just stuck around.
Oh, good. Good.
Is that going to be at the Olive Garden?
Yes,
Just hang
absolutely.
out there all day.
Yes, it's now moved to the Red Robin.
Yes.
My home good.
Hope there's not a Red Robin wedding.
Absolutely. Don't forget, folks, if you're out there, Stacy's covering her
she's
head.
covered.
The cheesy-
Her jokes are good. I'm appreciating you going out there,
I'm
Stacy.
trying so hard on these jokes. I've never done stuff like this
That's
before,
awesome.
so I'm
You did
really
great. You
just
did great.
making a total hand on myself.
Did great. All right. Do not forget to find the Schmoes Know podcast live every Thursday, 6 p.m. PST to 8 p.m. PST on schmoesknow.com, broadcasting live from Maria Menounos' AfterBuzz TV studios in Los Angeles, California. And folks, if you have the chance to watch us live, I'm not just saying it. It is fun. It's an event. You could be like Stacy, call in and yell at Mark and Christian. And it's a fun community. We celebrate movie fandom or movie nerddom.
Yeah.
Yes.
As Stacy would say.
Yeah.
You can find me on Twitter at Ken Napzok. That's Instagram as well. And the Napzok Files is on Facebook. Like us there. Find us on Stitcher. And if you're on iTunes, you can find us there. But do us a favor. Subscribe, rate, and review. And we will see you next time.